may be 10-2, I don't know.
Why's that?
Let me see your hands! Let me see your hands, motherfucker!
These civil servants have something to hide, and their training and resources have successfully masked their malevolence for years. But one slip-up will cause their tower of lies to come crumbling down, shaking a reliant population to its core.
Alright, I beat the ever-living fuck out of him, and then all of a sudden he just went limp. He's on the ambulance en route to Glenwood, and I'm hauling ass trying to catch up to him.
Y'all got no body cam?
May 10th, 2019, at just nearly 6 in the morning, Louisiana State Troopers Dakota DeMoss and Chris Hollingsworth chased a lone vehicle down rural highways before, according to their reports, the driver struck a tree and perished before ambulances could arrive.
The preliminary autopsy reflected a torn aorta and a separated spleen. I believe that this is the reason the initial cause of death was attributed to injuries sustained from the wreck.
If this Harold Green were killed in the crash, then why was he restrained when paramedics got there? And why did his car only have a dented fender? The hospital's autopsy report posed even more unsettling questions. Bruises all over his body, traces of pepper spray on his skin, a large gash on his forehead, and prongs from a taser sticking out of his back. His family demanded answers, but the department refused to release the body cam footage. After 2 long years, an internal affairs investigation was finally underway. In October of 2020, they were allowed to sit down and watch what body cam footage the police department could scrounge up. Now, to them, the proof was plain as day, and they were ready to do anything to get to the truth.
I will be here till it's done. I'm not going nowhere.
As the internal investigation drew to a close, their crosshairs leveled on a single man, the one who saw fit to declare that damning statement. Master Trooper Hollingsworth had turned his body cam off before the encounter, but, almost by instinct, turned it back on once he re-entered his patrol vehicle. Lucky for him, somebody else was recording on that night. Call it a professional courtesy, but they were going to give him a chance to explain himself before they took away his badge.
According to this video, at least according to us, it doesn't appear that you ever gave him a chance to get out of the car. How come?
I was in fear that he was going to hurt myself or Trooper DeMoss.
I'm scared! Get up,
The footage was so much worse than they could have imagined, and it soon became more clear that they might need to take away a little bit more than his uniform.
I didn't mean it to be degrading, and I wasn't trying to use deadly force against him.
The Justice Department is launching an investigation into the Louisiana State Police after a number of public reports accusing officers of participating in secret violence.
Master Trooper Hollingsworth never got his comeuppance though, because just 6 days after his deposition, he perished in a single-car crash before his badge could ever be taken from him. But that didn't stop the tidal wave wrought forth by his dam buster of a violation.
We got the tape recently, but the cops had it the whole time. And the whole time they're backing the other cops that they know for a fact are liars.
Now the entire world had an insight into what happened that night, all thanks to State Trooper Dakota DeMoss, who kept his body cam rolling through Ronald Green's hellish final moments. He didn't crash into a tree. He came to a full stop after regretting his scared decision to flee. Trooper DeMoss rammed his front end, exited his patrol car, and shouted for his hands in under 2 seconds flat, something Green confirmably complied with in the body cam footage. He still had his seatbelt on when MT Hollingsworth rounded the driver's side and tased him, and as he was violently forced to the ground, those hands were still outstretched. But that didn't matter to the officers. They felt their words could rewrite reality and justify their ravenous regimen.
Let me see your hands! Put your hands behind your back, bitch. Give me your hands. Put your hands behind your back. Taser. Put your hands behind your back.
50,000 volts ran through his body. The impulses that constricted his muscles were not his own while they told him to stop resisting. They continued to shock him and wrestle him into submission until he lost consciousness. But that didn't stop them from trying to sell their story.
We need some more units over here now.
Strike after strike on an unresponsive suspect. Excessive force in this regard is an excessive understatement.
Let me see your hands, motherfucker. Oh, God damn it, get up here. Get that motherfucker better not move. Got it?
The autopsy would later reveal that Ronald's sternum had been broken. For the last 10 minutes of his life, each gasping breath was a futile agony.
You stupid motherfucker. Alright, all over. Oh, this guy ain't got fucking AIDS.
On May 18th, 2021, 46 minutes of unedited body cam footage was acquired by the Associated Press, and by July, the FBI ordered a re-examination of Greene's autopsy. The federal case was finally picking up steam by August, but as they poured through hours upon hours of newly acquired footage, the federal investigators noted a frightening trend, something far more sinister and systemic than they ever imagined.
The Department of Justice has looked at Louisiana and found that dozens of cases involved officers either turning off or muting their body camera.
State Trooper DeMoss muted his body cam as the arresting officers walked away to wash the blood off their hands, while Hollingsworth continued to lord over Ronald and bellow at his pain. We'll never know what was said, but the rage in Hollingsworth's face encapsulated the mood of the moment. But that mood would change just as soon as they began to realize his trouble breathing. Hollingsworth hesitantly pointed out a deep gash caused by his flashlight, just as the paramedics converged on the scene. But now, as Ronald rushed towards the light, they struggled to reel him back in.
They need to be held accountable. If not, you're condoning the killing of Ronald Green.
We'll never know what lies they told the EMTs, how they explained away the atrocity, or hushed the medical examiner's suspicion of foul play. But one piece of the puzzle was finally set in place, and even though his story had come to a close, it was only the start of this sickening saga.
It is a natural response to continue to move when pain is being inflicted upon you. This is not policing. This is brutality.
Those hours upon hours of body cam footage seized by the FBI exposed a culture of racial dominance bubbling under the bayou's blue. And a staggering number of cases were hidden because of a routine practice for officers to turn off their all-seeing eyes. But, as in the case of Officer DeMoss, sometimes there was no time to check if they were in the clear, and in those moments, their true colors were revealed.
You know,
There are individuals that are clearly bad apples, but I think what we also see is that this is not just bad apples, but also a rotten tree.
This morning, 3 years after a black man died in Louisiana State Police custody, the troopers involved have been charged.
State Trooper DeMoss received a letter of reprimand, but was fired after a separate incident came to light. Trooper Corey York, who dragged Greene by the shackles, received a 50-hour unpaid suspension, but remains employed. 3 other officers on the scene were charged with criminal negligence after failing to report the use of force. They also remain on duty. As of 2023, the federal investigation is still pending, and all that the Louisiana State Police can say about Ronald Greene's arrest is that it was awful, but lawful. Now you be the judge. Thank you for detecting with us today. We have many more investigations unfolding. And if you want an inside look at what we've got coming your way, check out the links in the description to find us on Twitter and get access to our Discord server. We'd love to have you join our community and provide input on which developments warrant our attention. If you appreciate our efforts and want to support our future case studies, please take a moment to like and subscribe so that you know when our next file is revealed. And while you're at it, why don't you check out this video on the screen? Who knows, it might be right up your alley. Until next time.